Welcome to a mini edition of Always Bayern Chelsea. It's just me here talking about the Chelsea match, the first leg of the Europa Conference League match at home at the Bridge against Servette. And I tell you what, it was one of the weirder matches I've watched in my time as a Chelsea fan. And Chelsea, frankly, didn't look amazing. But they're up 2-0 at this point, going into the second leg next week. I'll take that. I'm confident in the fact that they'll be able to escape through to the main part of the Conference League. And I just hope they can continue to build on somewhat positive performances. They're learning Enzo's system. I've talked about this many times. It's going to take time. I'm going to remain positive. I think there's bright spots that I've seen from Chelsea. I think there's also a lot of question marks at this point. I'm looking to see if they can maintain the slow and steady climb that they've been on since the preseason. I hope they can maintain that Sunday against Wolves. But let's talk this match against Servette. In my instant reaction that I posted yesterday after the match, I mentioned that I think it was one of the more boring first halves I've ever seen as a Chelsea fan. Not much happened, to be honest. Nothing really of note. I'll say Mudryk had probably the best chance, and he missed it. Missed it to the left of the goal. He's got to put that away. He's a guy that needs to show his end result is there, and he hasn't shown it yet. As much as I love him, he's got to show that he can have that end result. So the first half, didn't really see much happen. And the second half, Chelsea scored the 2 goals. I think that first was a great creation by a few players. KDH, Nkunku, even Guiu kind of was involved in there. Nkunku's able to get the pen and then puts it away with a perfect penalty. You love to see that. I'm so glad that he's a confident player. Ultimately, he didn't do enough for me on the day. Most of the attackers didn't do enough for me on the day. But still love to see him get on the score sheet for the 2024-2025 season. That second goal, Enzo Fernandez. This is why I was so excited about Enzo coming into this year. I had him as my breakout player. He showed me why. He comes in as a substitute, has a brilliant ball to Noni Madueke, who does just as well as Enzo with the pass and puts it away with his off right foot. That was impressive to see. And I think Chelsea didn't show enough of that throughout. They're trying this slow build. I get that. But at times, I think you can find these passes when teams aren't expecting them. And that's kind of what Enzo showed there with that pass to Noni. So that was awesome to see. So those are the highlights. I think overall, my thoughts, I'm going to start off with the attack. Wasn't good enough. Servette ends up with more shots. Most of their shots weren't good, but Chelsea didn't show me that they could create enough opportunities. I mentioned the Mudryk. He did miss that chance. Had a couple other great bursts. Same with Neto. They both were a little too inconsistent for me. I saw a lot of people online saying, oh, Mudryk, terrible once again, and Neto is apparently getting some praise. I actually thought Mudryk was the better player of the two. I agree with fans that Mudryk is so hot and cold. He has these amazing chances and then also blows it with missed by the goal and missed opportunities to lay off a pass to somebody. But Neto really didn't even show any chances for me besides the one shot he had. So it wasn't enough. He'll get up to fitness. He'll be fine. Mudryk, I'm clearly still worried about, just as everybody else is. Guiu showed that he's once again the hardest worker on the team, maybe besides a Lavia or a Caicedo in midfield. But Guiu, you gotta put that shot away, my man. I mean, you do all the work. You do the hard part. You get the keeper to make a mistake, and you can't put away a wide-open goal in front of net? You got to feel for the guy. I love him. I'm afraid he's probably going to go out on loan, especially if we bring in a striker. I love his work rate, though. Let's not get it mistaken. I love his rate. I love what he provides thus far off the bench as a striking option. Nkunku had that pen. Didn't show me enough. Him and KDH both just weren't really involved in the game that much, especially in the first half. Dewsbury Hall, I thought he'd be one of the better players at the start of this year, knowing how Maresca likes to play, familiarity with him at Leicester City last season. I just did not see anything from him. Even a couple times where somebody would get him in a good spot near the box, would fumble it, lose the ball. Have not seen much from him at all to start the year, which is very disappointing. So that's the attack. Moving into the midfield, I think Caicedo had a very off day. I don't know if this is him still getting up to fitness. I'm not sure what it is with him. I didn't think he had a great day. Lavia, they were resting. I think Lavia is going to be the main man for some of these Premier League matches early on, which is great. Caicedo just didn't do enough. Enzo coming out in the second half was definitely more of a bright spot compared to Caicedo. Enzo providing that assist showed me that he's willing to progress more. Caicedo wasn't willing to push the ball forward, which I needed out of the midfield. Servette wasn't dominating the midfield, certainly, but I thought Chelsea should have dominated the midfield, and they didn't, and Caicedo was a big reason for that. The defenders, I thought held their own. Certainly toward the end, Servette could have put one on the board. I think Servette should have had at least one goal. You could argue the trade-off with Guillau's miss, it could have been 3-1. A couple times, Chelsea just weren't marking guys on Servette, whether it was a corner, a free kick, a lot of set pieces. Chelsea looked to let guys go free. So Servette missed 2 essentially free headers that could have gone in potentially. Tosin, very strong center back. I'd love to see him command the field going forward for games for Chelsea. Thought he was fantastic. Benoit Badiashile, not going to say much about him because he's so shaky. He's so shaky. Benoit, what are you doing out there? You didn't make any clear mistake, but you just lack confidence. Renato Vega, I tell you what, this guy, we might be thinking Cucurella had that left center back, inverted role locked up. Watch out for Vega. He's going to get all these minutes in these games, especially against Servette in the Conference League, these types of matches. He showed passion, fire, energy, dedication. He's getting the crowd roaring. Cucurella a lot of times does those things too, but he's a guy that you might need to watch going forward because he was awesome. He really was moving me a lot through the match when there wasn't a lot to cheer about. I actually got up and cheered for him on multiple occasions. So once again, I mentioned Chelsea give Servette a decent amount of shots. They end up with more shots than Chelsea. None of them were incredible. I thought the defense overall was very solid. Gusto comes on at the end, makes a huge mistake with a pass that almost led to a goal. He hasn't been great to start the year. I'm not going to worry about him. I'm going to remain positive about him, but something to watch a little bit going forward. Philip Jorgensen, I tell you what, he's moving me as well. Him and Vega are moving me right now. Jorgensen, I think I want him to start already over Sanchez. I'm willing to let Sanchez go for a few matches, but Jorgensen looks calm, looks collected, passed the ball great, made some great saves when he needed to, bailed some defenders out. I think he looks solid. I think he's going to be the keeper of the future for the rest of this year, but we'll see what happens with Sanchez. A couple guys I'm just worried about getting up to speed. I think as guys get fit, they'll be fine, but Cole Palmer, guy might still be on vacation. I'm not sure. He's our best player, but hasn't shown me squat so far this season. Not worried. Rumors he might have a little bit of a thigh injury. I hope it's nothing serious. We need him. He just hasn't shown me it yet. Noni, I mentioned that goal, was so brilliant. The connection with him and Enzo. I think Noni might have earned a start on Sunday against Wolves. We'll see what happens there. But awesome from Noni, especially coming from a guy who's rumored to be headed out the door. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Ultimately, my 3-1 prediction, you could argue, was correct. Chelsea ended up with a clean sheet, which is great to see. Did they deserve the clean sheet? Probably not. Jorgensen did. The team, probably not. I do have a few awards I'm going to give out. We're trying these new awards. Man of the match, I'm going Jorgensen. Clean sheet, he looked awesome. Might even won the man of the match officially from the game. Best defender, I'm going Tosin. Solid, as I mentioned, and he'll be a center back going forward, in my opinion. My new award I'm adding here is the Fireball of the match. Maybe trying to get a little sponsorship from Fireball Whiskey here. Wink, wink. It's Renato Vega. The guy's awesome. He's electric and brings the energy. My bad day at the office player. This is a new one as well. The poor performing player, I think, was Moises Caicedo. A guy that I expected to maybe be our best player, certainly our best midfielder going into the year, between him and Enzo, didn't do enough for me today. And finally, my moment of the match, clearly it's got to be my boy, Enzo Fernandez, dime to Noni Madueke to get that second goal and really take the pressure off the team for the rest of the match. This has been a quick recap, only about 10 minutes. Ultimately, I'm happy. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to remain happy and stay positive about this team. Up the Chelsea, baby. Let's go.